the bottom left-hand corner is that man himself, in the blue, representing Team Acer. Give it up for MMA. And to the top right, as our red Terran really needs this win to keep his hopes alive here at the World Championship Series Global Finals. It's our red Terran representing Red Bull. Give it up for Bomber.
Bomber, of course, no stranger to winning tournaments in America. He's picked up 4 of his 6 StarCraft 2 championships in America. Of course, would be looking to move forward towards claiming a 5th, but a difficult road is ahead. Of course, the winner of this will be playing in the semi-finals tomorrow against either Classic or Hero, 2 very, very deadly Kesper Protoss players. But for now, it is all about this map here on Overgrowth, as we do see once again, these openings coming into shape.
And I think in the end, it's going to be very interesting to see how Bomber plays out this next game especially, but also the 5th if it goes to that, because Bomber, it was so clear how confident he came into this series. He was saying 100%, I am going to win. Yep. Now he's on the back foot. How is he going to perform when his back is against the wall here against MMA, who has looked great these past 2 games?
Bomber won the first one, and you know MMA did win those next 2, showing a lot of strength and, as mentioned, composure. But here we do have, once again, the openings. We are going to see the factories coming in play again. The most popular build there is in Terran versus Terran, the faster factory to get the aggression rolling. If you can, you know, kind of overwhelm your opponent, you get a lead, you play the mid part of this matchup in a comfortable position. What we do see sometimes happen is both these players just kind of bounce off each other because they both went for the same build, and neither of them really get a lead, and we move on to the next part of the game. So once again, we're setting it up on this map where MMA gets closer and closer and closer to what he dreams of once again, to be able to be on the BlizzCon stage in the final, to hold the trophy like it did a long time ago. This could be one step closer if he was to win this, to get into the semifinals. But it is the Red Bull player who, as mentioned, has won 3 major tournaments recently, 2 Red Bull events, standing in his way, needs to win this one.
And yeah, as you say, MMA, that's all he ever talks about in our studios over in Cologne with WCS Europe. He loves the idea of BlizzCon. He loves the idea of performing well here, and right now he's doing it. All he has to do is take this one more game. Bomber was playing cautiously. He was looking around on the left-hand side, making sure nothing crazy was going on, because he is up against it here.
And it looks like we are going to see, very similar to the previous game, the Widowmine, Medivac, and Marine drop coming out from MMA with the Scout, with the Hellion here to figure out what his opponent's doing. He goes up and goes, all right, there's the barracks factory. He's kind of made a wall off to prevent any ground attack at the same time that could happen with a drop. It is a different Terran opening that could have happened here. But we are going to see, again, the Banshee from Bomber. Can MMA play out the start of this game like he did in the previous one? Because he did start to gain leads there, especially with the way that he controlled and kept the pressure on. There is the Medivac already going over to the other side of the map. There is a Widowmine that's been built by Bomber. Going to be very good for defending against this type of play. Yeah. If he's able to deploy that mine properly.
MMA looking to try and push on the same kind of route that he went in game number 3 at the very, very beginning of it. But this Widowmine, as you say...
Remember that Bomber's seen nothing in this game. He hasn't scouted. He's got no idea what he's playing against. And the Medivac is waiting. The Banshee in the middle of the map. Perfect play from MMA to wait, then to move in.
Oh, tries to find this position, and an SCV here actually goes into combat. The Marines were well positioned to deflect that, though, so at least that's a good start for Bomber. The Viking does find this in the end.
Remember, there is no cloak, so this Banshee has only got a limited amount of time to do damage. Looks like he'll get a single SCV, and that's about it, so not really worth it there for Bomber. He loses the Banshee immediately. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, he has a good idea. I mean, even with seeing this Medivac anyway, he had a good idea of what was going on the other side of the map. So did that Banshee really get much information? If it didn't get that many kills, not too much at all.
This is not good for Bomber Kolaris. He's got his natural contained for a little bit here. We already see MMA finishing up or getting close to finishing up that command center on natural.
He's going to try and take another command center behind all of this, but it has been spotted by MMA. He instantly sees that, forces a cancel as well. Everything is just going MMA's way here in this series now.
Yeah, this is not good here. He's getting a bit of damage done to that command center. He's got 2 Vikings in the mix as well that came out of nowhere, and he's holding this, and the command center's kind of stuck on the other side here. It's going to take a lot of damage. He cannot lose it, obviously. There's a mine here to help, and
it's going to
a
start
lot
burning.
of damage is being dealt. SCVs are going to have to come repair this, you'd imagine. But it looks like, no, he's going to be able to get this to this right-hand side.
But it did start burning overall. I mean, that is actually quite costly to start repairing
and Marines
this.
are still doing damage here. This is not good.
Oh, this is all spiraling out of control here for Bomber. He wants to break out of this container, certainly. The siege tank is going to help out so much.
Quick pickup there as the medevac with very little health gets these units out of there. And Bomber, by the skin of his teeth, holds up. But now tanks are here. But it looks like Bomber should be able to break out of this. Nice pressure in the early stages for MMA. And Bomber's got to be sweating in that booth right now because his tournament life is on the line. He loses a Viking there. And oh dearie me. Once again, just like the previous game, Bomber starting to fall apart.
This 3 Viking pressure that he's been using in the past game and now this game has worked wonders for him. I mean, it's almost a disastrous start there for Bomber. If he'd have, imagine if he'd have lost that command center, it would have just been so bad. But
imagine if MMA picks up 8 Marines and goes to the main mineral line while this container's here. The pressure's there. He's definitely got this chance to do something. Where does he try to go, though?
He just keeps going. He's just going to keep making units, rallying them forwards. It's a good position. He can go on the left-hand side of this mineral line, and because he has the Viking number, he has the air dominant advantage.
Oh, this is not good here for Bomber, and he moves over with a winner mine. He's like, maybe I'll defend this area that could get tanked. And, well, too late, as a position has been established by MMA, and Bomber not even mining from this expansion. Already a 20 supply difference between the both of them. What has really happened in this last 2 games here?
MMA is reading this TVT so well. Bomber has just been up against it time and time again. And now, how are you supposed to deal with this? Unless he forgot about the idea of the Vikings and then stimmed and killed them, that would be nice, but it's not going to happen.
MMA is saying, I'm going to hold this position for as long as I can, and I'll make sure you do not counterattack. As we see, no units rallying through the middle. He's keeping everything at home to make sure that he keeps this lead. He knows he's got a lead. He knows that right now, he is the player that's looking at a semi-final. He's moved through, he's seen these units, and he kills off these units for free. It's obviously very wonderful here.
Yeah. Look at this Bomber trying to take a huge risk.
The SCVs!
Oh, he sees the 3rd base. The SCVs have to get out of there. There's no way he's going to be able to take that.
3 mules there. That is not what you want to happen. That is a lot of money that he's just thrown that will not show its return.
Go back to the mineral lines, get back there quickly, because right now this command center is under pressure. Not going to have any mining there for a long time. MMA was able to sniff that out very quickly after seeing that potential counterattack.
One thing that Bomber can do. Wait. No! MMA picks up a command center. That was not meant to happen. No way, no way. But one thing that Bomber does have going in his favor, he has stim complete. Maybe if he can utilize this upgrade, 10 seconds, and then he'll have it. If he cleans up this force somehow, some way, then good. He can start to take control of the game again. But that was an absolutely disastrous command center loss.
I cannot believe what we just saw as that command center falls. And now this position, I mean, he sees the army. He sees the extent of the army. There's still no Vikings really with this. And he can just poke forward, get a few shots on the Raven, come back. And
does not want to lose that Raven. Does not want to lose that. He loses the Raven as well. MMA is taking every small victory he can find. And Bomber crumbling. He's supply blocked. He's feeling the pressure against a former BlizzCon champion. And MMA, who was not favorite to win this. No one thought he could win this, apparently. And he is turning this around. Bomber is in trouble. He's going for a counterattack. I don't even know if this is going to work. Where is he going?
He's got to try and do something. He knows how much of a deficit he's at. MMA, though, he can have siege tanks. He's got Marines and the siege tanks at the back reinforcing, putting on pressure at the natural. He forced the infrastructure to lift off. This is all spiraled way out of control. Stim's about to finish here for MMA as well.
Yeah, it looks like he was going to get some damage done here, but SCVs are going to come repairing now. Stim's going to be completed for MMA, can start to deflect this. And to be honest, MMA is caught in a very difficult position right now. I mean, Bomber's caught in a very difficult position. He's got this happening on his side of the map. He's been pressured. His attack isn't really doing too much on the other side. And there's a big supply advantage here for the Ace of Terran.
Right now, Vikings have won MMA this game. They've done so well for him, and he's pushing on forward. He's doing a lot of damage here. There's very little to Bomber's name right now, as MMA is almost 40 supply up. It's going to be difficult. And 1-1 just finished for the bio as well.
Absolutely, and now MMA is going to buy himself some time. He'll walk over this army that is trying to pressure his natural, and then we'll join forces to go for one final attack. It's going to take a miracle almost here for Bomber to pull this one back. It's going to be very difficult. He's establishing control in his natural, which means he can mine, he can build, but a very tense situation. Oh, this command center as MMA realizes a little bit too late there. For 2 base mining to 1 base here, Bomber is starting to crawl back into this. MMA still got an advantage, but not for much longer the more that this is around.
Yeah, has to be very, very careful about this. It's both players being contained here. That siege tank on the high ground is good. There's not enough Vikings to be able to control every location in the end, as he should be able to do a little bit and then push this away. So as much as the Vikings were doing very well for Bomber MMA earlier on, Bomber's looking to push out and break out.
Yeah, Bomber sees his opponent's army moving to the left-hand side, as we can see, so he's going to go chase and see what he can find. Well, he does keep the contain on, so this position not as bad as I first thought it could be here for Bomber. And he's going to pick up this tank and just not lose it here to that siege tank. He repositions, and he's chasing that army. He's expecting it to be on that left cell Naga tower. He's got to be careful not to get sandwiched here. Bomber's about to take a fight, but he doesn't really know where that other army is currently.
MMA simmed in, realizing that a lot of his army probably wasn't here because of the reinforcement point, killing off a lot of that.
There it is. It's coming from the left-hand side here. And MMA joining his forces together in the center.
And he has to get them all over there at the same time. A lot of Marines were lost there for MMA. Bomber trying to bring himself back in, gets the siege tank on the retreat out. But again, those Marines reinforcing for MMA. He still has army advantage and worker advantage.
Definitely still got a lead in this game, and he's just picked up a medevac full of Marines to try to drop the back of Bomber's base to see if he can pull his opponent down, find some weaknesses, and the game moves on here. Looks like Bomber's also picked up a medevac full of units. Oh no, multiple medevacs full of units, and there are a lot of Marines here.
If he stims and pushes into those as he sees them, if he reacts in time and does damage to those medevacs.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna spot it. He spots it, he's gonna set up a trap. This could be something.
He's gonna lose a few medevacs. He loses one on the retreat out there. Another one takes damage, but that was a big army spot. And he's got no army to be able to deal with this drop. MMA is doing very, very well here right now.
And now the supply advantage just opened itself up even more in favor of MMA. He's gonna boost his way out of this main base while moving forward with his force. And Bomber lost 2 medevacs full of units. It seems like that's been a common occurrence for him during this year in WCS. And as we can see, the defensive stance from Bomber as he tries to hold on. As MMA pounces forward, he's got a 3rd base behind all of this.
He could cross the T on that left-hand side as well whilst doing this drop on the middle and actually killing off all those Marines and then pushing on forward. If he pushes into those 3 sieges, he even gets one of the siege tanks as well.
He's got a good position on Bomber right now. Bomber's force on this right-hand side. Absolutely.
Is he just going for the counter?
Manic right now. MMA scans, he sees it's open.
Yeah, he gets a free siege tank on the push through here. The siege tanks are well divided on the right-hand side here for Bomber, but at the same time, these Marines are just going uncontested, doing whatever they want.
Bomber won the first game of this series, but MMA started to turn this around with winning 2 games in a row. SCV's been poured off to help deal with this. He's losing a couple there, but he is going to clear up this in the main base. But the 3rd base of MMA, he's mining more, he's able to build more, and this is a problem. MMA is going to join his forces together. Bomber trying to also find position. 95 army supply to Bomber, but 102 here for MMA. Not that big of a difference, so position is important. MMA does not know this army's here. And if he gets his army caught around here, MMA's in a weak position, but Bomber is going to go for it. Oh my God, both players are going to go for each other.
This is an opportunity. Well, it's an opportunity for Bomber to try and get himself back into this. He's on his opponent's doorstep. Likewise, though, MMA is at the front, stimming forwards, looking to do some damage. That siege tank is not sieged up. It really needs to be sieged up to be able to hold against this. He's going to go straight in there. One siege tank for free pops out at the wrong time.
MMA's broken the main base first, whereas Bomber's only on the natural. This is bad for Bomber. He's going to start to lose a lot here, whereas MMA is holding here. But oh well, that's a lot of Marines, actually.
The march up of the ramp, trying to do some damage. That siege tank at the back gets taken down here by Bomber, trying to do as much damage as he can do. He killed off a lot of SCVs, but MMA has set up in his opponent's base. Bomber is flying away, trying to get out of there and just go straight for the base trade.
Oh my God, what is happening here? This game has gone absolutely berserk. There's buildings floating everywhere. There's not much here there's nothing here for MMA to defend his main base. Likewise, there's nothing to defend this. But overall, when 2 armies collide, it looks like MMA is going to be stronger with these tanks. The tanks are going to deal a lot of damage. What a berserk game this is.
Yeah, Bomber just trying to claw at any opportunity he can here, whilst MMA have the traction behind his army. He's doing a lot of damage to his infrastructure. It's pretty much non-existent now.
The difference in the armies is almost non-existent, but these 2 engineering bases, it looks like the Marines are coming to deal with them.
Yeah.
Obviously with 2-2 completed, that's huge, but the armies are so incredibly similar. There's a 3 tank difference for MMA, but a 10 Marine advantage for Bomber. There are SCVs in the mix that do come into play, but position is everything. The defending player who's set up with siege tanks is going to win. A lot of Marines here. There's a 10 Marine advantage pretty much. So
yeah.
MMA's army in the middle of the map is stronger. There are 3 Marines up here for MMA.
He's looking to just find any of this production facility on the right-hand side. He has technically a few minerals that he could eke out some extra SCV Marines with even.
Both players have escaped with a command center here. The barracks are being cleaned up. There's a big stim. There's a lot of medivacs there as well to keep in consideration too.
He's got to be very careful for now. This is a tense situation.
Yeah, lots of medivacs for both players. Bomber comes back up to this high ground.
MMA, he's still not supply blocked, so he can make more Marines here, and he's going to be able to defend it. He's found a position where he can defend this production. He's going to go. He might actually go.
No, he's not.
Oh, Bomber's coming in from both angles here with those Marines trying to do some damage where he can, and those siege tanks at the back are doing a lot here for Bomber. But MMA, he's able to eke it out. He gets on top of the siege tanks. GG! MMA moves on to the round of 4. Look how ecstatic he is as beating Bomber here. What an impressive TVT we saw out of him, putting all the doubts to rest.
Wow, MMA reaches the semi-finals for the first time in 3 years after his 2011 victory, of course, playing up here. Wow, what a series. Bomber eliminated in the quarterfinals, and it is MMA who moves on as our first semi-finalist of the global finals in WCS.
Such an amazing performance overall there by MMA. And now, moving on to the round of 4. Looking good, looking strong against a player like Bomber, #1 rank in the world for WCS. MMA, moving on.
In the round of 16, and now in the round of 8, it's no different. Bomber getting crushed in what was a very, very close series.
Can we really call it an upset after Artosis predicted Bomber to win?
out of the 3 people up here who are wrong, I was the least strong, Todd, so thank you very much for that.
I would like to take the title for maximally wrong, because Bomber won the first game, and MMA comes back, and just back to back to back to back. And it was crazy the way that MMA did that was by being aggressive early on, which tends to be Bomber's strength.
You know, he won on his own terms, too. It was MMA winning via really good engagements. He was just out-controlling his opponent. He knew exactly when to attack in and when to back out. And it seemed like it just whittled Bomber down. And Bomber, oddly enough, based off what we were talking in the pregame show, Bomber's now out. A lot of us were saying Bomber might win the whole thing. That is not the case. How far do you think MMA can go, Todd?
I think he can go very far. He's been doing pretty well against Protoss. He's going to face one next, so he definitely can take it at least to the finals, you know, at first. And considering how well he's playing in TVT too, if he has to play a Terran in the finals, or even against Life, he's definitely going to have a good shot. He really impressed me that series. What really impressed me is also like how aggressive he played. I don't know what he had for breakfast, but there was no slowing him down.
He definitely had his Wheaties this morning. He really dominated, and I think he could go very far in this entire tournament. We actually have him on the floor now for an interview. So, Smix, how is MMA doing?
Well, we're right about to find out. Congratulations, MMA, on your 3-1 victory over Bomber. Now, MMA, a lot of people actually thought Bomber was the favorite in this series, and they predicted that you would actually lose, but you proved them wrong. How did you prepare for this matchup against a player like Bomber, who's known for having amazing TVT? 이해했어요? 그 최주성 선수와 되게 이제 만나게 됐는데, 이제 최주성 선수는 태태전으로 엄청 잘하는 걸로 유명하잖아요. 그래서 그렇게 어려운 상대로 어떻게 준비했나요?
네, 그 결과랑 뭐 보니까 태태전 현존 테란 중에 가장 승률이 높더라고요. 그래서 이거 어떻게 이겨야 하나 계속 고민하다가 연습하면서도 솔직히 승률이 안 좋았어요. 네. 오늘 딱 바머 형이 컨디션이 자기가 자기 입으로 안 좋다고 하더라고요. 거기서 좀 자신감을 얻었어요.
So MMA says, as I was practicing and looking at the results of Bomber, I noticed that he did have the highest win rate among all Terran players in TVT. So I thought to myself, how am I going to win this game? And even as I practiced my games, I didn't have the best win rate, so I wasn't sure how to feel about it. But then today, I was talking to Bomber, and he said with his own lips, I'm not feeling great today. My condition isn't the best. So listening to those words, I actually gained some confidence for my series. Now, in that last match, MMA, it came down to a kind of a crazy base race situation after you were ahead for most of the game. What went through your head in that moment, and what did you focus on to finish the series and win?
그 마지막 경기에서 엘리전으로 갔잖아요. 그 이제 문성원 선수가 한참 유리하다가 그렇게 엘리전으로 갔는데 그 순간에서 좀 당황할 수도 있는데 무슨 생각을 했고 뭐에 집중했어요?
순간 그 바머 형의 움직임을 놓쳤다고 생각하고 아 이거 엘리전 갈 수도 있겠구나 바로 판단을 한 다음에 막기보다 제가 병력이 더 많다고 생각을 했어요. 그래서 그냥 바로 베이스 트레이드 했어요.
So he says, during the game, I noticed that I wasn't completely aware of where Bomber's army was. I thought to myself, this can go to a base race, but I thought I still have way more units, so I decided instead of defending, I went out and pushed and decided to head right into that base race. Now, last but not least, you have so many fans here that immediately started chanting your name. I know last week when I spoke to you at the round of 16, you said you were so excited to come to this live stage to see all these fans. What do you have to say to them?
그 지난주에 그 라이브 이 무대에 서 있는 게 되게 기대된다고 했는데 이제 나오자마자 사람들이 환호했잖아요. 문성우 MMA 이렇게 했는데 그 팬들에게 한마디만 해주세요.
I love you guys. Have fun.
Congratulations again, MMA. Tasteless, back to you.
I just want to point out again here that was a match where Bomber actually had beforehand an 86.4% win rate in TVT, and MMA managed to crush him.
Yeah, and no longer does he have an 86.4% win rate, does he?
Well, what's the win rate now?
It's going to be 83.2% at this point.
Point two repeating, yes. Let's go ahead and pull up the replay and take a closer look at what happened in that last series. It was pretty crazy. This is the base trade moment we had here. Nathanias, tell us what your thoughts are here.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a down supply position like this, the best choice Bomber can make is to try and get MMA in as uncomfortable a position as possible. When you're in base trades like this, the first thing that goes through your mind as a Terran player it usually is defending, but at some point you realize that's not an option anymore. As MMA comes up and Bomber steps up into his production, you'll notice a couple things. The command center being safe for MMA at his third base pretty much guarantees him a chance to come back in this game if he can hold on to it. He's still mining a little bit of money, even though he's losing his production. Bomber doesn't manage to save either of his command centers, and a large amount of his production is destroyed. So even if he was able to get a base mining, he's not going to have the ability to make enough units to actually defend and try to come back.
And the one thing that hurt my heart so much was seeing as MMA's pulling back with all his units, at the far right side of the map, Bomber has some barracks floating. And if you look at the units, there was not a lot of good anti-air for either of the players, just Marines. No way to get to some of those hidden corners and the edges. So Bomber could have actually forced a draw. But if you're Bomber, you know that MMA has a third command center somewhere. You assume that the clock is on you, and I think that's what really hurt Bomber in that base race, that he tried to get back to defend his buildings, and he could have forced that draw.
I wonder, actually, guys, what do you think about that final move that Bomber made, where he basically tried to get a good siege up the ramp to surprise... Bomber tried to surprise MMA, and in the end, MMA just didn't go up the ramp, and then Bomber ended up committing. Did he maybe think that MMA was just going to mine and then beat him from there because he didn't have buildings anymore? Was he committed to fighting there?
I don't think he was, actually. I think that as soon as you decide to take that fight, especially when he has all those extra SCVs and you've left Marines at home to kill, or at his home, at MMA's home, to kill extra buildings, you definitely have a smaller army. So I think that you need to play super defensively there. You need to run around and try to whittle his army down. And I mean, you're probably still not going to win there, but attacking into his army is the quickest way to get a GG out of there.
I got a quick question for you, Day 9. We just saw MMA crush Bomber, and I think what most people would say is an upset.
Yeah.
How far do you think MMA can go now that he's in the semifinals?
You know, I have a hard time predicting if he could beat either Classic or Hero in this spot, because I mean, both of them just have such amazing form in general. But I think the key is going to be the one little control-based trick that MMA can use to get an edge. In this series, the hero was the medevac with 1 mine and 6 Marines that came in at the start of the game, and he got so much value all game long, actually in the last 2 games. So I think that against Protoss, that's definitely a lot harder because of Photon Overcharge. You just boot up a Nexus and then you leave it be and you're fine. But MMA is still the one player who's figured out a lot of interesting mind-based strategies in that matchup. So again, if he can get that good control opportunity, that's, I think, the only way he's going to get to the finals.
And Nathaniel's closing thoughts on MMA.
He's got a tough road ahead of him either way. We've seen Hero's PVT rate is incredibly high throughout the year. Classic played some really unusual strategies against Polt in last week's round of 16. He really has so much to prepare for. It's going to be a tough road either way.
Well, guys, MMA will move on to the semifinals, but this is just the beginning of today's games. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, it's going to be a PvP here at the WCS Global Finals at BlizzCon. Stay tuned.
Thank you very much, Tasteless. Yes, one game down, and it was a little bit of a surprise in there with MMA making it into the semi-finals. The first player to do so today, we're going to play all of the other quarterfinals back-to-back until the end of the day, by which time we'll have our final four. Don't forget, we do like to see your tweets and all of your messages on social media, so make sure you're connected in the right way with @StarCraft, the official StarCraft channel on Twitter, and make sure you use the hashtag #WCS, not like I do. Also, of course, on Facebook /StarCraft. After the break, we'll have another match. It's another quarterfinal where we'll find out whether it's heroic or a classic. We'll see you then.